Good morning and welcome back to my channel. I'm Nancy Henderson. I write historical and contemporary romance with a little bit of paranormal in once in a while. Haven't in a while, but I've been mainly focusing on historical, but that is me in a nutshell. If you'd like to check out my books, my website is nancyhendersonwrites.com. And today I thought I'd tell you about my newest book series that I'm working on. They are a series of mail-order bride stories set in the 1800s near Lincoln, Nebraska. I've been doing some research on this, and I am actually pretty surprised to learn that there isn't a lot of research on mail-order brides. And the question that haunts me is, what happened to these women? I mean, does anybody know? Well, I'm trying to find out. So what I'm doing is I'm on my computer right now. I just Googled in mail order brides in the 1800s. A mail order bride, it says here, is a woman who lists herself in catalogs and is selected by a man for marriage. In the 20th century, the trend was primarily towards women living in developing countries seeking men in more developed nations. And then it goes on about today's mail-order brides, primarily men seeking women from Russia, which is kind of going off track. But then I found another site. It says in the 1800s, the phenomena of mail-order brides was not so innovative, but the demand for women remained as high as a few centuries ago. In California, men did not want to remain single, so they took control over this aspect of their lives and started to send letters to Eastern churches. Moreover, some of them placed ads in newspapers. And then there's dustyoldthing.com says what history books don't tell us about mail-order brides. And it says here, many of us have grown with the notion of mail-order brides as a somewhat regular part of frontier life. You may have read Sarah Plain and Tall. Love that movie, by the way, or heard tell of a mail-order bride in your family tree. In today's world, the term can bring to mind unsavory practices, but in the days of the West, people had a much different attitude towards the phenomena. There were a lot of reasons for both men and women to seek these marriages, but they weren't always strangers when they met. Interesting. In the 1800s, illness and disease were rampant. People could die very suddenly from cholera, dysentery, or tuberculosis, and women died in childbirth at rates much higher than they do today. And that's interesting, too. I read in another website, the death rate of women in childbirth was 85%. 85%. That is insane. Then it says, this left many a farmer or businessman without a wife. A singleton couldn't have children, of course, but there was also the matter of taking care of any surviving children or running the house or farm. Many men at the time married as soon as possible after becoming widowers. And then it goes on to say how men greatly outnumbered women in the areas of mining towns and ranching operations. Many of these places had been settled by eager young men who later found themselves with no female companionship. Similar problems had plagued Jamestown in the early 1600s, when women who traveled to the colonies at the request of these men were known as tobacco wives. It doesn't say, that's all it says about tobacco wives. But the phrase mail-order bride implies the purchasing of someone, but they were not monetary transactions. Instead, the would-be husband, in many cases, paid for his intended journey. So he would often pay for her train fare. Here we go. Were these unions happy? By all accounts, they were as happy as many other marriages, though some correspondence courtships only have ever resulted in partnership without true love. For many people at the time, love was not a necessary feature of marriage. On the other hand, mutual respect and the prospect of having a family were the main deal breakers for many. It may sound strange to marry someone you don't know, but considering the long period of letter writing, this phenomena of mail-order brides was more akin to our online dating than to the wife dispensary service the name implies. And I went on to see, if there was any results of happy unions of these, and the only thing it says to check local church records, to check family trees. So the short answer is we don't know. We simply don't know. I mean, these women could have been killed. They could have serious victims of domestic violence. I mean, who knows what the person may be like when you got there. I mean, they may be a wonderful person, but they may not. I just can't imagine how incredibly brave these women were. Or, I mean, the women could be abusive themselves, and the men, in that case, the men are brave. But yeah, it just blows my mind. But anyway, I am almost done with book 1 in the Mail Order Bride series. I'm calling it Mail Order Deception. Book 2, I'm calling Mail Order Mix-Up so far. That may change. I don't know. So I'm known to change titles until the very last moment when I release them. But so that's where we are now, and I'm having a lot of fun learning about this stuff. So yeah, it's crazy. We live in a crazy world. I guess we always have. I mean, certainly the world seemed a lot more dangerous in the 1800s, but I don't know. What do you think? So anyway, I'm Nancy Henderson, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.